You ever have one of those mornings where you realize you're just a supporting character in somebody else's power trip? That was me standing in the dust, staring down a $300,000 Bentley blocking my barn doors, my arms covered in blood up to the elbows, a sick calf bawling weak behind me, and the so-called HOA president grinning at me like my misery was the opening act of her brunch. "Move your damn car, or I'll move it myself," I said. And you should have seen her face, all calm and smug, hiding behind mirrored sunglasses, arms crossed. Meanwhile, I'm on the phone, voice trembling, begging the emergency vet to hurry. I could hear the calf getting weaker with every second. She just leaned there, perfume mixing with diesel and panic in the August air. That's how it started. Or at least that's the moment everything came to a head. For 6 months, this woman had tried every trick in the book to get me off my land. 500 here, 1,000 there, all made up fines for things like agricultural noise or improper storage because I wouldn't sell my family's ranch to her developer buddies. She knew about the medical debt about my wife's cancer. Figured a broke, grieving widower wouldn't have the fight left to stop her. Thought wrong. See, I'm Jake Morrison, and this ranch has been in my family since '87. 40 acres barn, my granddad built fields that always smelled like hay and diesel in the mornings. My dad kept it running, expanded things, planned to pass it on to me, and I was supposed to pass it to Emma, my daughter. That was before cancer bills gutted us. Sarah, my wife, she fought for a year and a half specialist treatments that cost more than our home. By the time she was gone last winter, all we had left was the land and a mountain of debt. The hospital smell wouldn't leave my clothes for weeks. Emma, she became my rock after that. Up with me before dawn, helping with the cattle, never once complaining when dinner was beans and rice for the 3rd time in a row. And then came Vivian Blackstone. She bought the old Patterson place for over $2 million, called it a farmhouse mansion, even though the kitchen alone probably cost more than everything I'd made in 5 years. She wanted the rural charm, just without the cows or the noise or the smell or, anything that makes it rural. First time we met, she was standing at my fence line in heels, worth more than my truck designer. Everything looking at me like I was the reason her property value wasn't higher. "You're the neighbor with all the noise," she said. "No hello, no nice to meet you, just straight to business." Within a week, she was HOA president. Within 2, I got my first citation. Noise violation from my rooster Charlie, who's been here longer than her kitchen tiles. $500 supposedly for disturbing quiet hours. Never mind the county law that said I could keep livestock. But Vivian didn't care about the law. She cared about control. The citations kept coming. Unsightly hay bales, parking my own feed truck in my own driveway, claiming my barn was 3 feet onto HOA land, a survey mistake, by the way, not that she cared. Each fine got bigger, 500, 800, 1,000. My options: pay up, lawyer up, or shut up. And with Sarah's bills already drowning us, fighting back felt impossible. That's when she started parking that Bentley right at my barn entrance. Not quite blocking it at first, just making it a pain to get the tractor out. But 3 weeks ago, she took it to a whole new level. That morning, my cow had a breech birth. Calf stuck mother in distress, blood everywhere. I was fighting to save both lives, calling the vet, voice breaking. I stumbled outside, desperate to get Doc Martinez's equipment, and found that Bentley parked sideways, a steel wall blocking the only way in or out. I saw Vivian at her window sipping coffee, just watching. I banged on the door. "Move your car, animals are dying." She came out slow as you please and said, "Maybe you should have thought about that before violating HOA standards, farm boy." The calf died. The mother barely made it. Something in me snapped. After that, every time I walked to the mailbox, there'd be new citations taped to it like ransom notes. Odor violation because apparently cow manure is a health hazard now. Commercial vehicle infraction for my grain truck. Outdoor storage issue, my hay baler, the same one that feeds my herd. Each one with a deadline, 72 hours or daily fines start at $200. The math was simple: comply or lose the ranch even faster. But what she didn't know was desperation makes a farmer resourceful. You start looking for any loophole, any old law that might give you a fighting chance. So I did. Dug through dusty boxes, read every page of every agricultural law in the county, state, federal code. That's when I found it, the Agricultural Protection Act. Old-timers at auctions used to talk about it, but I'd never paid attention. Turns out if your farm was here before the neighborhood, you're protected. My ranch established 1987. Her subdivision built in 2019. The law was crystal: you can't harass established farms just because new money moves in next door. Then I found subsection D: deliberate interference with agricultural operations is a criminal offense. Blocking barn access in an emergency, textbook violation. 10 grand in fines, maybe a felony. I scraped together $42 I didn't have and filed a counter complaint at the courthouse. The clerk, old farm woman herself, winked at me as she stamped the papers. Monday morning, the sheriff's deputy pulled up to Vivian's mansion. I watched through binoculars, totally legal by the way, and saw her face get redder and redder as she read the papers. 20 minutes later, she called me. "You think you're clever, farm boy," venom in her voice. "Ma'am, my cows have better opinions than your lawyers," I said, and hung up. That should have been the end, but Vivian didn't know how to lose gracefully. That afternoon, her husband showed up at my fence. Richard Blackstone, city councilman, soft hands, perfect teeth, the kind of guy who never worked outside in his life. "Jake, let's be reasonable," he said, fake charm dripping. "Vivian's just maintaining community standards. Surely we can work something out." I didn't even look up from setting fence posts. "Your wife blocked my barn during a livestock emergency. A calf died. Is that your standard?" He tried to bluff. "Do you have proof?" Emma showed up right then. "Should I get the security footage, Dad?" We didn't actually have footage, but he didn't know that. His smile flickered. "I think this conversation is over," I said. As they walked away, I heard Vivian hiss. Legal harassment didn't work. Time for more direct methods. You know that feeling when you realize someone's about to play dirty and you're not sure how far they'll go? Next thing I knew, certified mail arrived, 47 pages of legal threats from a firm with more gold on the letterhead than I've ever seen in a field. They wanted my barn torn down, all commercial activity stopped, and get this, $25,000 in damages for supposedly lowering her property value. I sat at my kitchen table staring at it, coffee, cold bacon grease congealing on the plate. Emma came in, saw my face. 16, but after losing her mom, she's learned how to read adult fear. I'll be honest, that moment nearly broke me. Legal fees alone would finish the job. Medical bills started. Everything I'd ever owned was either sold or mortgaged. That's when Grandpa's old advice hit me. If you can't fight fair, fight smart. So I went to the county extension office, a place that smells like burnt coffee and desperate hope. Mrs. Henderson, who's known me since I was a kid, sent me to Tom Bradley, the only government employee who actually likes helping farmers. He listened, shook his head. Rich folks move in next to a farm, get shocked it's a farm, then try to lawyer you out. He grinned. "Jake, you're in luck. There's an agricultural defense fund. State will get you a free lawyer for stuff like this." Handed me a card, Maria Santos. No gold, just her name, an agricultural rights attorney. I met Maria at Mel's Diner. She looked more like a ranch hand than a lawyer, flipping through Vivian's legal mess. "Standard intimidation," she said. "They're betting you don't know your rights." Turns out not only was I protected, but her threats counted as harassment. Maria's plan: countersue, demand legal fees, and file state complaints. By Friday, our suit was in. Monday, the fireworks started. Vivian called, voice shaking. "My husband has connections. City council, county commissioners, state legislators, we can destroy you." I told her, "Ma'am, my life's already been destroyed by people like you. Difference is I'm building something back." She escalated. Irrigation lines cut. Health inspectors just doing their job, poking around my barns after anonymous tips. All clean, but every visit cost me money and time. I found Emma crying in the barn. "They're going to take everything, aren't they, Dad?" She was all I had left. That's when I realized Vivian's real power wasn't her money or her connections. It was her willingness to cross lines nobody else would. But she hadn't counted on Emma's stubbornness. Emma started watching, kept track of Vivian's patterns. Spotted her taking photos every morning from different spots. "She's doing surveillance, Dad." Sure enough, it was targeted, mapping out weak spots, timing when I was away. But surveillance goes both ways. I started documenting her every illegal photo, every trespass. Then Saturday morning, the cattle gate was gone. Not just opened, removed, and hidden. I found boot prints in the mud designer heels with a weird tread pattern. Photographed everything. Maria said, "We're done playing nice. This is criminal trespassing, vandalism, livestock endangerment." We installed cameras, made sure they were visible. Next day, Emma told me she overheard Vivian talking to a contractor about making sure he's not around Monday morning. Monday was my supply run and vet visit, same schedule I'd kept for years. They'd been watching. plotting something big. That night, Emma dug through old county records for a history project and hit pay dirt. She found a 1952 document, a federal emergency agricultural easement that guaranteed barn access. Any obstruction was a crime with heavy fines and the sheriff's immediate authority to tow or move vehicles. Emma's voice actually shook when she read it out loud. Turns out every morning Vivian parked her Bentley across my barn doors. She was breaking federal law. Maria's voice was gleeful on the phone. Every day she parks there, she's building your case. You don't have to outspend her, Jake. Just keep documenting. Emma found more. Vivian's mortgage was maxed out. If she took a financial hit, it could all collapse. Suddenly we had leverage. Tuesday I went back to Tom at the extension office. He looked at Emma's research and whistled. Jake, you could clear that access with a tank and be within your rights. We planned. Maria and 2 legal experts drew up papers. David versus Goliath, but this time David had paperwork. Friday, the whole county was buzzing. Even the feed store owner offered to testify. Saturday, I checked every detail. Fuel cameras, equipment, witnesses. Emma pointed out that Vivian parked the same way every day. Predictable. That was her fatal flaw. Sunday, word got out that Vivian had whipped up a Facebook group turning the neighborhood against me, accused me of threatening children and lowering property values. But her propaganda only rallied more support for my side. Then came the final attack. School counselor, inspectors, even college contacts, all hit with anonymous complaints. The goal, push us over the edge. But Tom, my extension agent friend, called with the missing piece. They wanted the land. Phase 2 of Willowbrook Estates needed my 40 acres. $8 to $10 million at stake. The rest was just pressure to get me to sell. That night, Emma looked me in the eye and said, Mom died protecting this place. We're not giving up. That was all the courage I needed. Monday morning, I was ready. Cattle-fed tractor warmed up, every camera recording. At 7 sharp, Vivian pulled up with her Bentley, parked it right across my barn doors, this time standing outside, staring into the cameras like a queen, daring her subjects to rebel. After today, this is over, she called out. What she didn't realize is that I had already called the sheriff, documented everything, and had the vet on standby for a real livestock emergency. Deputy Martinez arrived, body cam on. Doc Martinez pulled up behind. Deputy announced loud enough for everyone to hear, "You are illegally blocking a federal agricultural easement during an emergency. Mr. Morrison is authorized to clear the obstruction." Vivian folded her arms, still trying to act untouchable. "You wouldn't dare touch my car." I gave her one last chance to move it. She refused, cussed me out in front of the deputy. Everything recorded. So I climbed into my John Deere 20 tons of diesel and steel and inched forward. The blade met the Bentley's fender with a sound that was pure justice. Vivian lost it, screaming that I was destroying her car. The deputy read the law out loud for the cameras. Vehicles illegally blocking agricultural operations assume all risk. Her insurance wouldn't pay a dime. I cleared a path. Doc drove through. The crowd, neighbors, ranchers, even some folks from town cheered. Vivian, face pale, screeched away in her mangled car, vowing revenge. But that was it. The sheriff filed charges not against me but against her. The county committee blocked her development. The video of my tractor pushing the Bentley went viral. Her mansion went on the market within the week. Price dropped twice to cover damages. My land's value protected forever. Our new neighbors actually brought us cookies. The new HOA rewrote the rules to protect family farms. Emma set up tours to teach folks about agricultural laws. The extra money helped pay off Sarah's bills. 6 months later, we started a scholarship in Sarah's name. Tom retired but drops by for coffee. Even the deputy got promoted for handling things by the book. Emma got into college planning to study agricultural law. That's how you turn tragedy into legacy. You know what I learned? People like Vivian think power, money, and connections make them untouchable. But sometimes all it takes is one person willing to stand their ground, to dig up the old laws and to fight smart, not just hard. That's how you win. Not with fists, but with patience, persistence, and knowing what you're really fighting for. So let me ask you, have you ever dealt with someone who thought their money or connections made them above the law? What happened when they finally hit a wall they couldn't buy their way through? I'd love to hear your story. Drop it below. Because trust me, there are more folks like us out there than there are Vivians. And sometimes the good guys win quietly, but when they do, it's a win that echoes.